threat of disaster is never pleasant.
Welcome to the Casual Preppers podcast.
These safety measures are essential.
The only place for prepping, survival, and entertainment.
This will be your source of survival instructions and information. Every member of the family must be coached in the business of survival.
Here are your hosts, Cam and Kobe.
This pole shift.
Hey, watch out for that pole shift.
Interesting one we got today.
Yeah.
We got a little bit of a mix.
Specifically before on pole shift?
I don't think so. Not necessarily.
Pole
I don't
shift.
know. That's bullshit.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So, we're going to be talking about pole shift and environmental collapse.
Sounds like a video game from the 80s or something.
It does.
Doesn't
It sounds like pole shift and it'd just be cars.
Yeah,
you
just call it
take pole position.
Pole position, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, imagine you wake up and you look at your compass like you do every morning
I have it right next to my bed.
and it's flip-flopped.
What the hell?
Yeah. You
What
feel
happened?
like you went to bed with your head facing north, but your thing is telling you it's actually south.
My big guy
That's pole
switched.
shift.
My big guy switched.
In easier terms, that's pole shift. Okay.
I tell you, that's scientifically what a pole shift is.
Yeah. But the thing is, it would cause a lot of chaotic. The environment would just go crazy.
Haywire.
Pole shift. Okay. So cities would basically change the tide. You have, glaciers melting, and you
Cats
have,
and dogs living together. Mass hysteria.
Yeah. It just changes everything.
Yeah, sure.
It's a weird thing to talk about that can happen, and supposedly it has happened.
Yeah.
So they say.
Mm-hmm.
So what you thought was north used to be south at one point in time, right?
What?
Didn't you put notes in there about that?
Yeah.
I hope we're talking about it. That's what I'm trying to say.
And we're also talking about environmental collapse, which is sort of a different thing, but sort of in the same thing.
Yeah, I was like, pole shift would create this problem, but this problem is possible in many other ways.
Yes, exactly.
So
we decided to combine them.
Yeah.
You
And
know?
it may not work together, but we're going to make it work.
Yeah. Remember when you used to
pole
get
shift.
Remember when you used to get remember the noun laters? Remember them?
Yeah.
And you put them in the microwave and then you squish them together and you make a big old jawbreaker.
Yeah.
That's what we're doing today with pole shift and environmental collapse.
Yeah.
Okay.
They are hard, man.
Yeah.
So it's like, they weren't as good as they look.
No.
People love them. And
they do, yeah.
and pull your feelings right out of your teeth.
If you're careful, you got molars coming out quick,
Yeah.
man. You got to be careful. What else you got to be careful for is looking out for Battle Box because it's the monthly subscription box full of solid gear for adventure seekers, survivalists, outdoor enthusiasts, and casual preppers. Each month, Battle Box sends you the coolest selection of hand-picked outdoor survival and everyday carry gear, all valued at far more than what you'd normally pay. You never know what's in the next box, but here's a sampling of what users received this month: the Bare Bones Railroad Lantern and the ThyroSafe Radiation Protection Potassium Iodide tablets.
That's cool.
Take a couple, just in case.
Yeah.
When it's time, okay?
You have cancer everywhere else, but your thyroid's good.
Thyroid safe, cozy and warm. All this badassness starts at just $34.99 per month. They've shipped over 1 million boxes and won Best Subscription Box of 2020. Our listeners get 15% off when you sign up at battlebox.com/casualpreppers. Get your first Battle Box and 15% off at battlebox.com/casualpreppers.
Easy enough.
Easy enough.
Well, since you're all confused about that introduction,
Yeah.
we talk about pole shift.
Let's talk about pole shift. There's a bunch of pole shift, if you ask me. What is a pole shift? A magnetic pole shift? Well, here's the thing, Cam. Earth's magnetic field isn't locked into place. It's not like in a little groove and, it's never going to move. It doesn't stay there.
Snap.
Okay, it snapped in there. Throughout geological history, it has reversed dozens of times.
That's weird.
Meaning your compass needle would suddenly point south instead of north. And it's not necessarily suddenly. It was like you know what I mean? It would take time.
I felt it.
Oh, geez. My insides are all gooey. The last full reversal was 780,000 years ago. During what scientists call the Bruns-Matayuma reversal.
Oh, okay.
We all remember this from school.
I don't remember this.
The last time it flipped, I don't either. Before that, flips happened roughly every few 100,000 years. So,
Wow, that's
but it's not
weird
like
that it
on a
flips.
predictable schedule.
Whoop, 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 whoop. Just flips back
Yeah.
and forth, huh?
So the magnetic pole right now actually isn't staying put.
I didn't. Yeah.
If you didn't know.
That's crazy.
Since the 90s, it must be Bill Clinton's fault. It's been moving around.
No, it's Biden's.
Biden's fault. That's right. Since the 90s, it's been moving around 34 miles per year towards Siberia.
Oh, yeah.
But, you know, I think they just got some weird science experiment going on over there.
Yeah.
Underground.
34 miles
That's
per year.
sucking a pole this way.
Yeah.
We're going to get the pole
It's
over
like,
in Siberia.
Those magnets when they start sliding and all of a sudden
They flip hard.
That's scary.
You're right, Cam. It's exactly what it's like.
Magnets.
That's faster than any movement recorded in modern times. So that's kind of sparking theories about is flip coming? Hey, y'all, we got a flip happening pretty soon,
Well, I
maybe?
have a compass above my bed every night.
Yeah, so
Watching
you
for
got to
that
have
pole
your
shift.
phone, you got to have your gun, you got to have your compass. You wake up, you check all three.
Yeah.
Okay? Just in case. Why does this matter, though? Well, the magnetic field acts as Earth's shield against solar and cosmic radiation. Remember that episode we had just barely about EMPs, CMEs, and whatnot?
Yes, yes.
The Earth's the shield, the magnetic field, it's great to help shield us against these
Magnetic shield field.
magnetic shield field. Exactly. During a reversal, the field weakens. It's a little baby field at that point. Friggin' yeah.
Temporarily?
Yeah.
Until
Yes.
it builds back up?
Yeah, it builds back up. Apparently. I don't know.
That's
Don't
weird.
ask me. I'm not a scientist. Shit. I'm just saying
So
stuff.
when it flip-flops, it weakens the
Yeah,
magnetic field and then
I
it
think so.
builds back up.
I think so.
34 miles to the east.
Yeah, it's like when you're eating pudding. You know, there's that skin on the top, and then you don't eat for a while, and then the skin builds up. Just like that. I got a lot of great stuff
that makes
today.
sense now.
Input. I got a lot of really good input.
I was talking
today.
about pudding. Okay.
Pudding and now and later.
Somebody's eating pudding. Listen, just spit it all over.
Now I get it. So the field weakens. It allows more harmful radiation to reach the surface at that point. Satellites and communication systems could be disrupted by increased solar activity. Okay?
Get a little analogy.
I should have thought a little harder about that, but that's right what came to mind at that point. All right. Power.
Want some pudding?
I don't even like pudding. I rarely eat it.
I don't. Same here.
It's probably been 5 years since I've had any pudding.
It's like I get a little autistic with the texture. I'm like,
Yeah. Yeah. Power grids might face geomagnetic induced currents, damaging transformers and causing blackouts. So basically it makes that sort of thing more frequent, like an EMP type situation. How fast could it happen? Well, scientific evidence shows reversals typically take hundreds to thousands of years. So you're not just going to wake up one day and it's like, oh, it just flipped last night.
guess what, honey?
North, south, south, north.
Pole flipped.
Yeah.
I don't know if you knew that.
Let me show you my pole.
know
It
we
just
flipped.
flipped. I just had a pole reversal.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I'm going to show
That's
you about
gross.
it. However, even partial weakening before a full flip could cause widespread technological problems. So that's the thing. It doesn't have to flip. Like, it could just be like it's starting to flip pretty hard, like it's coming. And so then the field gets wacky, right? Some alternative researchers and catastrophic pole shift theorists claim reversals could happen in decades or even days, leading to a sudden global disasters.
Yeah.
So that to me feels like a 2012 situation, like the movie 2012, which you haven't seen.
Yeah.
But, all of a sudden, crazy things are happening like constantly. Maybe that was a
Pole
complete
shift.
pole shift, right?
Yeah.
These theories often cite magnetic excursions. These are brief partial reversals that may show faster movement. The idea that Earth's core dynamics could shift unexpectedly, causing a flip within a human lifetime.
This is weird.
This is super weird. I also want to talk about something called geographic pole shift or crustal displacement.
People are going to like this theory.
They are, because it came from our very good friend, Charles Hapgood. Charles Hapgood, crustal displacement.
I woke up one morning and
Yeah.
the penguins up on the hill and then
Yeah.
they're down on the...
The penguins on this side, penguins on this crust with display. Charles Hapgood.
I like a good crust on top of my penguin burger.
It's like a pudding crust.
He's the pudding crust
Yeah, he's a pudding crust guy.
theorist.
So he said, suggested that the Earth's crust could slip over the molten mantle beneath it.
That's
Like
so
it's just
weird to
moving.
think. It's
Yeah.
just like
It's like if you had a ball of pudding.
the core sets...
You have a ball of pudding, and there's that pudding skin,
Never
and you
mind,
can
never
move it, move it around. So
it's like you slosh underneath and the
Yeah.
skin doesn't move, right?
That's right.
kind of what's happening.
Yep.
That makes sense.
Imagine the entire outer shell of the planet suddenly shifting position. Continents moving thousands of miles in a geological instant.
Weird.
Yeah, it'd be a crazy deal, right? But Charles Hegel said it could happen. Charles Hegel says it, and it's true.
I see it. The penguins move without me moving them.
Yeah, Charles Hegel says it, and it's true. That's right. Charles Hegel.
Signing off. Charles Hegel.
It's a dark and lonely December. Yeah, article.
Crust slipped 50 degrees east.
Flip my crust again.
Flipped my crust. Crusted a bunch today.
Haven't had my crust flipped in a decade or so.
It's cold down here.
Getting lonely and cold.
Cold down here.
Just me and the penguins. Or me and the boys, as I like to say.
John, come here. Feed you a little fishy. How's the crust this morning?
Me and the boys watching the crust displays. Talking about pudding.
Reading his notes to the penguins. The crust could shift, everybody. The crust could
There's like
shift.
20 penguins sitting in front of it.
Just saying.
Oh man, why we made this movie? So the mainstream view, like modern geology, rejects the rapid crustal shifts. I know, no one's as fun as old Charles Hapgood.
No.
While plate tectonics move continents slowly over millions of years, there's no current evidence supporting sudden catastrophic slips.
Okay.
Hypothetical impacts, if it did happen, would be tsunamis hundreds
So
of
this
feet
is where
tall.
your environmental stuff gets real crazy.
For sure, yeah. Megaquakes worldwide, collapsing cities and infrastructure. Megaquake. Instant climate zone changes.
Ate too much pudding. Got megaquakes.
Yo, Taco Bell got a megaquake. Charles Hepburn signing off.
You guys go to bed.
You guys go to bed. I gotta go struggle with this.
You gotta struggle with
I gotta displace some
I'm
crust.
gonna melt some ice tonight.
Got a little crust displacement happening in my bowels.
There's gonna be some crust displacement in my undies, I'll tell you
that's
that.
right. Real crusty. Instant climate zone changes. Like mass extinctions, ecosystems fail to adapt, all that kind of stuff. Yeah. Why do people believe it's possible? Some alternative theorists point
Because they eat pudding.
Yeah. Some alternative theorists point to ice mass redistribution, basically melting ice caps, as a trigger. They could have just said that. Or suggest past cataclysms were caused by sudden shifts, but these claims remain fringe and unproven.
Okay. Probably pole shift.
Probably.
I can't explain it.
So what about environmental collapse? So again, this is separate, but not necessarily
They're
separate.
tied a little bit.
Yeah, what does it mean? Well, the breakdown of Earth's life support systems due to human-driven changes. It's not always human-driven changes, but where climate, ecosystems, and resources cross tipping points beyond recovery. There are some major
so if, like,
drivers.
everybody runs. I know this is back to crust shift. If
Sure,
everybody
that's
runs
a
in one
different deal.
direction,
That's
the
a different
crust
deal.
is gonna shift.
Yeah. The major drivers of this are climate change, obviously, rising greenhouse gases with the heat waves, the droughts, the floods, and the sea level rise. Biodiversity loss, mass extinction of plants and animals lead to ecosystem collapse and then destabilize food chain. We're not going to lose them now because we can just clone them, right? Mm-hmm. Ocean acidification. That's you got excess CO2 absorbed by the oceans, lowers the pH levels. All kind of weird crap happens. And then we got pollution and resource depletion. All those things are bad, right? But what are the tipping points? Well, melting of Greenland and Antarctic ice sheets. If those melt, it's not good because the sea levels will rise meters within decades, flooding major cities worldwide. Miami is a swimming pool.
Yeah.
Seawater swimming pool. Amazon rainforest collapse. So right now, it's a CO2 sink, right? It's like sucking in the CO2. But if it collapsed, then it becomes a CO2 emitter, accelerating global warming, all that kind of stuff. Now, how about the permafrost? This scares me slightly. It releases trapped methane and like other weird gases, potentially triggering runaway warming. Okay?
That's a weird one. I was yawning.
I noticed.
Holding it back.
So environmental collapse is not a single event, but it's like a cascade of crises leading to food shortages, water scarcity, mass migration, and geopolitical instability.
Ugh, man.
Good luck.
Yeah, good luck. So, why does it matter? Well, as preppers, we got to be prepared. and this is what would happen. This is kind of intermixed with crust shift and environmental collapse, okay?
Yeah, okay.
So, beyond the immediate coastal destruction, like you're saying, from rising seas, a geographic pole shift would cause instantaneous, global devastation, obliterating critical infrastructures like transportation networks, power plants, communication systems through massive geological events. So if you listen to our last week's episode, very similar chaos.
Yeah, just in a different way.
Yeah, it would just break everything down instead of like a pulse. Things would just fall apart underneath your feet, kind of. I don't know.
Crust is
on top
placement.
of your feet.
Yeah.
Pudding wouldn't be produced.
The pudding pop.
Pudding pops.
That's close.
I used to do that one a lot.
Yeah, you
but I
haven't done
can't
that
do
in
it
a
anymore.
while.
It's pudding.
There you go. You got it. You got there. Takes a second.
Yeah, farmland
Yes.
would be. Yeah,
Sound like you had a complete list.
it got stuck. The F
Yeah.
got stuck
Yeah.
because there's flooding in
Oh,
farmland.
it was Yef.
Fleth. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Flooding of farmland reduces food production and would drive famine, right? Extreme heat strains on the power grid causing blackouts like we saw in Texas not too long ago. That would happen all over the place. And basically an unprepared population would be done for.
Yeah.
Supply chains would break, failed crops due to droughts, floods, sudden climate shifts, transportation of
Floods,
goods.
man. Have you seen the floods in Texas
Oh my
recently?
gosh.
So obviously we're recording this in advance. So this probably happened several weeks ago when this came out. But did you see that they did confirm that someone was cloud seeding in Texas right beforehand?
Are you kidding me?
No.
No way.
They said that obviously it didn't affect anything, but they were actually cloud seeding. Scary though.
So yeah, humans, Jack. And
We talked
everything
about that in one of our, didn't we? I don't remember.
We
We
did.
talked about cloud seeding.
Yeah, we did.
Or weather modification and
But
whatnot.
yeah, so flooding would be a huge thing because you're going to see this huge disruption of, clouds and absorption of water in different places that don't normally receive it and then it can't absorb it. And it just causes a lot of problems. And water, as you know, can destroy everything.
Dude, it's
This
so
is a
bad,
huge-
man. Looking at the videos of these
It's
floods,
horrible, man.
it is ridiculous.
And so, and then, the water crisis, like one, you may not be able to obtain water, and all the water that does exist could be super contaminated with, seawater. It
Amoebas.
can be people's feces. Just watch the rainfall on a road and see how disgusting it is. It's like pure oil slick after that. So if you get a lot of water washing out of these areas, if it washes, I won't say it. Never mind.
Okay.
Because I always think it's super disgusting when they have this heavy rainfall on areas like LA.
Oh, yeah.
But what it does to the ocean, like
Oh, yeah, it's
all that
gross.
crap, I'm like,
Disgusting.
holy crap! If that's that you can see how that just would screw up the whole system.
Mm-hmm.
Then you get extreme weather. I mean, the extreme weather would directly worsen illnesses. You get all kinds of different diseases popping up, waterborne diseases, and bacterial growth, fungal growth, all that stuff. It just gets much, much worse. And
delicious.
then the hospitals have to try and support all of these new sicknesses with a failing system because of disruption from weather. It's a mess, okay? And then you get conflict and mass migration. People freak out.
Yeah.
And they're trying to go from these heated areas to cooler areas. And that creates a huge problem for cities that aren't prepared for that.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to try and go to a climate that is, as mid as possible, right? That,
And so-
this is like a San Diego type climate.
Exactly.
But it's probably underwater.
Yeah.
San Diego is, so.
So, yeah. Now Nevada becomes the coastal city.
Yeah.
It's weird stuff. And a lot of people migrate to those
You
areas.
might actually have oceanfund property in Arizona at that point.
That's true. Yeah, literally.
Yeah, George's song won't make much sense. Or will make
He
more
knew.
sense.
He knew.
Yeah.
He knew. And then pole shift specific effects, weakening or collapsing magnetosphere would go beyond disrupting satellite navigation and would basically ruin that whole system that we rely on for everything now. And it would expose Earth to increased solar and cosmic radiation. So maybe you have to go underground.
Yeah.
Because you have no protection from the radiation from the sun. It's like Mars now.
Yeah, you're basically
the
living on Mars.
surface.
Yeah.
And then, with that pole shift, you also get the crustal displacement possibility, earthquakes, tsunamis, volcanic eruptions, climate chaos that could potentially happen, probably won't. But it just makes the weather way more extreme and way harder to live in. And so what a disruption.
What a disruption. And throughout this whole thing, one of the key things to think about is staying hydrated, Cameron. And as people want to be prepared and ready for anything, the last thing you need is something that will slow you down when you need to be ready the most. That's why we at Casual Preppers have teamed up with Element. It is a tasty electrolyte drink mix with everything you need and nothing that you don't. We think Element is perfect for bug-out bags and EDC kits because it contains a science-backed electrolyte ratio. 1,000 milligrams of sodium, 200 milligrams of potassium, and 60 milligrams of magnesium. Casual Preppers listeners can get a free Element sample pack of the most popular drink flavors when you make any purchase through our exclusive Casual Preppers link. They offer no questions asked refunds on all orders. This offer may be claimed by first-time and returning Element customers, but it's only through our VIP Element link, and that is drinkelement.com/casual preppers, drinklmnt.com/casual preppers. Go get it. All right. So how real is this stuff? That's the whole thing. We talked about the pole shift, right? We kind of already went over most of this, but it's worth repeating a little bit. Magnetic reversals are a proven part of Earth's history. So we're not talking about something that's maybe it's possible, like it's happened multiple times, so it will happen again at some point. But the last full flip was 780,000 years ago.
We're due.
Yeah, we're
due for a flip.
We're due for a flip anytime. So, and then again, like the North Magnetic Pole is currently drifting pretty quick towards Siberia. Full reversals typically take hundreds or thousands of years, not sudden, but it's still something worth thinking about. The impact risks today, most technological disruptions, satellites, navigation, potential grid instability, all of that. It's not like it's all of a sudden everybody's blown up and dead. It's not direct mass extinction. It's one of those things that's going to take some time. And then the geographic pole shift, the crustal displacement. Again, there's no geological support for sudden crustal shifts. They usually drift slowly over millions of years due to mantle convection, in case you were wondering. Yeah, exactly.
You take the pudding in.
So you got a bunch of pudding in a cup.
You dry it out and starts
put the fork in the middle. Yeah. No scientific evidence suggests that the entire crust could slip dramatically all at once. It's a fringe theory. But did you know that the idea was once entertained by Einstein?
Really?
He was actually talking with Charles Hapgood about it.
I can't believe they were friends.
They were just buddies. Can you imagine those two together? What a day that would be.
So take my penguins.
Yeah.
And you put them in gravitational.
So if the penguins are going at the speed of light.
Yeah, that's exactly how Einstein had to explain it.
Yeah.
Charles was like, I'll get you now.
Okay, I understand. We got the penguins to go real, real fast. And the mass
Put
equals
it in
the energy.
penguin terms. Put it in penguin terms.
You keep talking about atoms and whatnot. Talk about penguins. I told you 100 times. I only want to hear about penguins.
You got the penguins orbiting a nucleus.
The penguins are the electrons.
Yeah.
The nucleus is the crust.
Oh, okay, I got you.
I'll get you
I'll
that.
get you. Yeah. Cutting this penguin steak. Try this.
Have another bite.
Albert tries this.
Albert, have a bite. Did I tell you I took out my own pancreas?
He's like, can I move on?
Yeah. That's what everybody else is thinking too when they're listening. Can they move on, please?
Can they please move on? I know my wife is like, bzz, 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 like tapping the 10-second jump ahead.
Yeah. Environmental collapse. There are some ongoing signs here because this is actually, you can observe some of this stuff. There's coral reef bleaching.
Yeah.
If you didn't know about that.
I just read a thing about how much that's happened recently.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
So
that's
it's
not good.
Nearly annual due to the ocean warming, and it's threatening fisheries and coastal protection, all that kind of stuff. That's a bad thing, by the way. You don't want your coral reef to bleach.
Oh, you don't.
Okay. It's just like putting colors in a wash. You don't want them to come out bleached.
When he's born, they're all white.
Yeah, what's happening? 2024 was recorded as the hottest global temperature year ever.
Last year.
Getting
Great. That
warm.
means this year going to crush the records.
Yeah, it does feel hot this year. That's right. Glacial melt is accelerating. Great.
Yeah.
Great. there have been some historical.
Poor penguins.
Yeah. Good thing they float.
They boil real good too.
Yeah. Boil up in a soup real nice. Penguin soup on a cold Antarctic night. Delicious.
Ain't nothing better.
Have a bite, Alfred.
Ain't nothing better.
Albert. What's your name again?
Alfred. Remind me your name again, Mr. Einstein.
Sorry, I can't take my eyes off your hair.
You just look smart.
You look smart, that's for sure. Tell me about this theory of relativity again you've been talking about.
Come here, John. You want to sit on his lap? You want to sit on Albert's
Come on, yeah. Go see Uncle Albert.
Oh, man. No one's liking this, but I am.
No one's liking this. So there has been historical examples of some of this. The Permian extinction, 252 million years ago.
Big number.
It was known as the Great Dying.
Is it really?
Yeah. It wiped out 90% of marine life and 70% of terrestrial species.
Jeez.
That's a whole bunch of things.
It's a great dying.
We call it a Great Dying.
It's a terrible
Everything
name.
died. It was driven by massive volcanic eruptions releasing CO2, triggering
Freaking volcanoes.
runaway global warming, ocean acidification, and ecosystem collapse. Basically all the things that we're talking about.
Yeah.
So, anyways, scientists warn that crossing multiple tipping points simultaneously could cascade into an irreversible collapse of Earth's
We do
systems.
seem to be damaging a lot of stuff all at once.
Yeah.
Thanks, scientists,
kinda
for
scary.
confirming that. We already know that.
Yep.
So what's our prepper response? So the first three are really the most important here.
Yes.
Number one, you got to get that water plan. Rain catchment systems. Hey, if it's going to be raining a lot more where you're not used to it, might as well catch all that rain.
Drink it up, man.
Catch all that rain. But this is going to be important because the water systems you depend upon, the pipes and stuff, they may not be safe. They've been broken up and you're not going to get your fresh water.
Yeah.
So, and then make sure you're storing water, obviously. Other things have good filtration systems and purification tabs, things like that you can sterilize the water when it becomes dirty. Maybe you still got running water, but it's just not safe. And so if you have all that stuff, it's going to be great. And then food. Obviously, you got to have some food. Start storing it now. If you've been listening up to this point and don't have anything stored, give up.
You're not getting anything from us.
You're not getting anything from us.
You're not getting anything from. If you're here for the Charles Habgood jokes, they're too far and too few in between. You need to think about the other stuff.
Focus on your water and food storage now.
Yeah.
Freeze-dried foods, canned foods. Make sure that you have replenishable ways to replenish your food supply. Gardening, learn about gardening, get a greenhouse, indoor gardening. You can do hydro and aeroponics.
Farming penguins.
Farming penguins, anything like that.
Yeah.
And then
pudding.
Pudding, yeah.
Pudding.
You can make anything into pudding.
Yeah. Penguin pudding.
Penguin pudding, yep.
Yeah.
And then food preservation skills are super important. Canning, dehydrating, fermenting.
Puddifying.
Yeah, that should be one. Puddifying.
Want to puddify some penguin meat.
So those are your most important. Water and food. Then next, consider like energy and shelter. Like you're going to be dealing with a lot of storms. So you obviously want some storm supplies. Maybe protection for your windows from tornadoes that don't normally happen. Having power backup generators. You've got all those portable and power banks that you can take with you. Insulation upgrades. Insulation is good. Insulation is good for both heat and cold, right?
Yeah, for both. You don't think about it
you don't
as
go cheap on that stuff.
You're good stuff.
Yeah. And then community and security. Things are going to get crazy for people. Food supplies are going to drop, and people are going to lose their minds. So make sure you have a security plan, either communicating with your neighborhood so that they can all start. I'm not going to work with mine.
We always say that, but it's like I've never talked to anybody in my neighborhood about any of this.
Basically, live in a safe place that you think people will all coordinate. And
I
work
did
together.
at one point when you lived in the neighborhood.
Yeah, that was
the only time.
That was yeah.
Or my sister lived
now
in the neighborhood.
Now we've got two neighborhoods that we've got to deal with.
We're just going to live right in the middle, in the field back there.
Yeah. We're not dentists, so we can't afford that.
No, there is a dentist right between us, though. We can go take his compound.
Exactly. obviously, again, a knowledge and skill, foraging, herbal medicine, animal husbandry, mechanical repairs. Learning those skills, they're not going to wash away. Pun intended.
That's right. Yeah.
And then, again, get your mental and emotional preparedness under control now.
I think it's so...
if you're
people
not in a
sleep
good
on
place,
it,
man. If you're not in a good place, none of this is going to matter at all.
Yet start there.
You will just
Let's just say that.
Yeah,
Start there.
you're
now.
a mess, and no one will be able to take the time to help.
And, like, I know it's hard because like freaking life is tough.
Life is tough, man.
It's rough. So work on that first.
So whatever way, faith, community, philosophy, whatever gets you mentally stable, it's good to get there.
Herbs.
Yeah.
Spices. Whatever.
So then when
whatever
you
it
have
takes.
that figured out, like you can deal with all these stresses that come.
Yeah.
And then have a bug out plan, obviously.
For sure.
We taught you crust shifts right underneath your house. Yeah.
Gotta drive the other way.
Or ride it. Just ride it into a new location.
Yeah, just hold on tight and go.
Yeah. So, but you need to have those plans, the emergency plan, your bug out plan, all of that. It's super important.
I agree.
But listen, today's podcast is brought to you by TacPack, the only tactical subscription box with useful professional grade stuff inside.
Yeah.
Use our code Casual Preppers that you've been typing into everything in your town.
Yeah.
And this time you'll actually get a free $70 machine-made part from Next Level Armament.
Boom.
That's pretty good.
That's not bad.
And those dudes can stick so much stuff into those boxes.
Yeah.
They are stealing it. I'm pretty sure.
Don't know how they're doing it, but they're doing it.
You can get a lot for very little.
Yeah. Listener challenge for this week. Research your region's environmental risks. Right? Is it floods? Is it heat waves? I mean, you probably don't even really need to research this. If you live in Phoenix, you're like, it gets hot here.
What the problem is.
You live in Florida, like, we get hurricanes. Fires. We're in California. Pick one practical action to reduce your vulnerability to it. Like, whatever it is. Maybe it's like storing extra drinking water, or you're going to identify some local food sources around you. Maybe you're going to upgrade your insulation like Cam discussed. Or maybe you're going to work on your mental health.
Yeah.
As part of this.
That's great.
You know what I mean? I love that.
I like that because people don't like the place you live is the most likely. It's the place you're going to have to deal with some kind of disaster.
So think about that. That's a big deal.
Yeah.
Thank you, everybody. We appreciate the heck at you. You guys are awesome. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for visiting our sponsors because that keeps us rolling.
Mm-hmm.
Please keep going and getting that stuff. Yeah. Anything else, Cam?
No. Work on that plan, man.
Get it done.
Get the penguin down in your house.
Just have
That'll get the temps under control.
Just have signing off. See you for that.